Hello, amigos. This is your friend, Pastor Sam. Pastor Sam of the Gospel Gunslingers, coming at you almost live from the capital of the free world, Mexico City. Uh, it's been a long time since I broadcast on YouTube. It's just been such a pain. A lot of my equipment's broken. The heat was on. If you don't know, I'm kind of going to answer the questions today about Daniel and Revelation, and I'm also going to kind of use this as an introduction because I've got a lot of new subscribers. Thank you for everyone who's subscribed. Please make sure you hit the bell, and please follow me on all platforms. I'll put the links in the description box if I get around to it. My fourth grade teacher said I'd invent the cure for cancer and lose it in my desk. And sadly, I feel like I've grown some, but I've lived up to that. And part of that's because of persecution. So the first thing that you need to know is that I am a refugee in Mexico. Every week, another friend of mine or somebody I broadcast with, someone who was mildly active in supporting their president, in supporting, sound economic policy, immigration policy, foreign policy, et cetera, is brought up on federal charges, is locked away without charges, or is arkancided, or suspiciously disappears. And lots are just deplatformed and drop off. So I am in Mexico, a place where I have lived on and off. It's a nation that I love. I'm a career Latin America missionary, Spanish speaking, among other things. And so I'm kind of just going to introduce myself to you a little bit. I thank everyone for following me, and my main site is gospelgunslingers.com. Now, I'm also on Twitter. You can search Gospel Gunslingers, or if you can spell my name, it's Honnold Samuel altogether, at Honnold Samuel on Twitter, or you can search Gospel Gunslingers and find me. They actually grow coffee here and pick it right off the tree. I'm drinking chai latte today. This is the greatest city in the world, more than 50 million people. It's the historic capital of the free world. And President Andres Manuel López Obrador, the president of Mexico, we call him the Presidente Ciudadano, the citizen president. He's the leader of the free world, whether we like it or not. And I know that's very difficult for an American. We kind of have an image of Mexico that, there's people with an Indian blanket wrapped around them and a great big huge sombrero sitting sleeping in the middle of the day, not doing anything, surrounded by tumbleweeds and dust and poverty and cactuses. And it's not really like that. This is a very advanced nation. It's a jet power. It's a nuclear power. All of our industry did move to Mexico. The globalists did that. Yet the Mexican people turned around, came out of socialism, came out of... really the Bushes and Clintons were in this together in trying to sell out Mexico and make it a captive population. But the Mexican people are very warlike. In fact, we tell a joke that their national pastime is bullfighting. And after that, the American pastor said, "That's revolting." And the Mexican pastor said, "Revolting is pastime number 2. So the Mexican people have fought 3 great revolutions. I lived 4 years in the city of Chihuahua in the north, where all the revolutions retreated to it was kind of the Valley Forge of Mexico, but not just one time, 3 times in 3 different revolutions, 50 years apart, 50 years. And the last one in the lifetime of our graybeards started in 1910 and went all the way until 1921. 1923, General Villa was assassinated. And then Mexico kind of fell into a socialist trap, but not only socialist, even their conservative parties were driven by Bushist policies in later decades and just corrupt supporting of illegal immigration, which is a terrible thing that causes people to be subject to slavery, figuratively and very literally subject to slavery. It broke the aldea system, the village system, which Benito Juarez set up that lasted for over 100 years. And who finally broke that? The Clintons, when they signed NAFTA. It caused the corn prices in Mexico to plummet. People couldn't subsistence farm anymore. This encouraged illegal immigration, which they also greased the path for. And that is so really the immigrants coming from Mexico is the fault of the Clinton crime family. So Then we get into other areas, the war on drugs, and Bush, who was, Bush Sr., the head of the CIA. He was about the same time as Carlos Salinas de Gortari, excuse me, the Mexican ex-president. And the people are voting on August the 1st, so in just a few days. The people of Mexico are all going to vote whether or not to make the ex-presidents subject to being judged and imprisoned. Wouldn't it be nice if we had that in America? Name an ex-president that ever went to prison or even blew dirty on a breathalyzer and spent the night in jail for a DUI. Never, 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 because they're above the law. So, see, we have these things in common. And I'm going to tell you something else about Mexico. The United States needs the industry of Mexico to fight a war. I'm from Iowa. Maytag Washing Machine is one of our great companies. Guess what? It's moved to Mexico. Just the offices are there anymore. Ertl Toys moved out of Dyersville, Iowa. Company after company after company in my state and every state is the industry has moved everywhere, offshore, overseas. And right now the current place it's vogue to move it to is China. But for decades, that industry moved to Mexico. And so Mexico is a very important trading partner. A lot of automobiles are assembled. Even turbines and advanced precision equipment is manufactured in Mexico. The TMEC that Andres Manuel and Trump signed is very good for Mexico. That's going to cause factory wages in automotive assembly to go up to $15 an hour. It steps up. But that's an unimaginable amount of money. The minimum wage in Mexico City for the people that are out sweeping the streets is about $4 a day. So for somebody to make $15 an hour, that just makes a pillar in their community that can loan and that can start businesses and put relatives into business and help the next generation through school and just all kinds of things. And that's going to be the base wage as the TMEC gets going. TMEC is what we call it in Mexico, if I think of the name for it. Oh yes, USMCA. That's what the English call it. So that's going into effect. Here's the thing, to fight a war, we don't have the industry in Detroit anymore. We can't make uniforms. These companies just, for example, in Iowa, were making guns. Mattel Toys was making guns in World War II. Detroit, 3 years, did not make automobiles. All the big three. They were making tanks. They were making aircraft. They were making B-26 bombers. Everybody was making wartime production. Clothes. We don't really have the sewing factories to make uniforms, boots. I show off my shoes sometimes. I'll knock the camera over if I try, but my shoes that I'm wearing right now, 100% made in Mexico. No Chinaman has ever touched it. And these are a really nice pair of dress shoes with an aggressive sole that's got traction. It's almost like a combat boot mixed with an Oxford. It's really cool. I'll try to get one off here. But here's the thing. It's 100% made in Mexico. Mexican leather. The sole is Mexican. Every bit of it. Now the United States cannot do this anymore. It's lost. Our industry is lost. Now Trump rebuilt it some. We still make tanks and stuff like that. But the co-laborership of our nations is very, very important. People ask me about the immigrant issue, and just in a nutshell, that's about crime families. Really, go to my blog on subscribestar.com/gospelgunslingers, and I've laid it all out. How the Bush family backed a corrupt criminal governor in the north of Mexico. His name's Cabeza de Vaca, the head of the cow, and he is a crook. He's a crook, and he took all this government money and he built his own private army. And I've even got the links on there